The doors are open. Enter into the bunker, which is file into formation and file into the room. What's up, Valentonia? What's up? What's up? I am super excited. Whew, 2025, huh? Coming in with a big bang. And yeah, I was like, oh, this is so perfect, because I was already planning on trying to bring tea and tarot back in some way. And just, with all of the events, everything that's going on, but also with all of the like astrology and symbology that I've been noticing, I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to take a look at what it all means for the energy of this year. She is coming in hot. She is letting us know what she is all about. So we are going to find out what else she has to tell us. What is all this fiery energy about? Okay. And Happy New Year to everyone. I pray that you all had a fantastic ringing in, even though this isn't my energetic New Year. This isn't when I feel like I start per se. It is a little bit of like a stretching out during the hibernation, maybe going outside to like, take a pee by the stream and then, go back in a little bit. So it feels a little bit like that, like, let me peek my head out. The thing that I have been saying the most in all of my client sessions has been 2024 was the year of lessons, because that's pretty much what everyone's been talking about in terms of like what they're going through. 2024 was the year for us to learn the last pieces of what we needed to figure out. And 2025 is a 9-year completion year, a year like the analogy I've been using is like graduation. Specifically, it's like, I don't know if everybody's school is like this, but at least in my high school, senior year, the last semester, you kind of just got to fuck around. Like you got to pick your own electives and like decide what you wanted to do or whatever. But if you had all your credits and all your stuff, the last semester is kind of like, you're not really there. I don't know if that was like how your high school was. But that's how it feels for me. We're in that last semester where we're getting to decide what our lives are going to be like after the formal graduation 6 months from now. When we get to the halfway mark of the year, are we going to be able to say, yes, we did it? Or are we going to slack off and kind of let those lessons go by the wayside and decide like, nah, I'm done working. I don't have to do anything anymore. I certainly want to keep my foot on the gas, which is so crazy because that's literally on my vision board for this year. Keep your foot on the gas. It was in one of the magazines and I put it on there. I didn't really understand then why I was saying that, but now I get it. This is a year to, at least in the beginning, keep your foot on the gas and keep going, because we're going to have some bumps to navigate and make sure that we have learned the lessons of 2024. So I think also maybe because of like the retrogrades or something like that, I don't know, the astrology girlies can let us know maybe why I have been feeling this way. But I've also been kind of like taking a walk down memory lane. Has anybody else been going through this, like looking over old stuff and like, I don't know if it's the phone sending you reminders of things or whatever, but I've been kind of like flashing back. Well, no, I guess it makes sense because like we're in a completion year. So this is the end of a cycle. So review is a part of that as well. But I've been like looking back over how everything got started. And I was like, it all started with tea and tarot. So I felt like it needs to come back. And that's how we're here. So say what's up, say hello. I'm only looking at the stream, but I'm not seeing your comments. Let me just make sure. Let me know you can hear me and see me. Have I been talking for no reason? Let me know. I'm great. But not the first time, because I have done that. Okay. But yeah, let me know if all is well. You can hear me, see me, say what's up, where you from, where you at, where you tuning in from. Are you drinking tea? This is Tea and Tarot. Are you having tea at the present moment? You don't have to. It's not a requirement, but it is highly encouraged. Are you drinking any tea at the moment? I am drinking my tea. I'm usually drinking one of my teas, Skinny Spice. However, I am drinking it wrong because this tea is best taken as a part of a detox. So I should be eating clean and eating light and drinking lots of water. And I have been pigging out since Christmas. Basically just fattening myself for the winter time. So no detoxing has been happening, but in my head, I'm like, maybe if I drink the tea like a little bit, it's doing a little bit. So we'll see. But yeah, is anybody else having any tea? Let me know down below. Hey, Marlene, what's up, honey? Great to see you. What's up? What's up? Are you having tea, my dear? Let me know if you're having tea, folks. What is going on? I got my candle lit, but it's about to go out, so let me get a fresh one. Let me get a fresh one. And I'm going to show you guys the decks that I'm going to be reading from tonight. It's so vibey in here right now. I love this time. I'm listening to you guys. Okay, I'm taking your feedback. I am a night owl, like through and through. I will be up so late, like the middle of the. I used to joke that I don't wake up like until 5 p.m. and it's kind of true. Like from 5 p.m. to like 9 in the morning is when I actually have the most creativity and the most energy. So I will stay up really late. So for a while now, I've been taking all of my sessions and like teaching my webinars and things like that as late as I can, usually after 10 o'clock at night. And folks have been not enjoying that as much, is the feedback. So I was like, let me come on earlier tonight. But the end of the week for me is now Sunday night. HQ is closed Monday, Tuesdays. So it's like my unwind time. So it's very vibey in here. And I pray it's vibey wherever you are. You need some for your sore throat? Yeah, make some tea, girl. I wish you were at HQ. I could have maybe given you some blackberry leaf. If you have some blackberry leaf, first signs of a sore throat. She's one of the powerhouses in my Not Today Satan tea. Okay, blackberry leaf. You have a sore throat? Start drinking her right away. You will be all good. All right. So, well, if anybody else comes in the room, say what's up. I'm going to drop a banner here for the YouTube folks when I make this public. You guys are getting to tune into this exclusively as the Bunker Witches, even though you're tuning in from YouTube. Only you guys have the link for being inside of the bunker. So I'm super excited that you guys have tuned in and that I'm going to get to share these messages with all of you. And then when this is done, then I'll make it public to the YouTube folks. But, you know, the Bunker Witches will get the messages first. So that's how I think I'm going to do Tea and Tarot moving forward. Happy New Year, Witchy Homestead. Let's see. Let me shout out everybody who's sitting here. What's up, Val? What's up, Marlene? What's up, Witchy Homestead? How we doing? Yes, a blackberry plant dedicated to breed. I'm going to have to remember that. Yeah. Blackberry is really cool because I mean all plants do this. They all like replicate what they're there for. And she's such an incredible protective agent. And blackberries have sharp thorns. So they're great to put around like the perimeter of your home or your property or whatever, because the animals that like would want to get through, like the deer or whatever, they'll nibble on the blackberries that are on like the farthest outreach, but they can't actually go through the vegetation because it's full of thorns and stuff like that. So it's a great way to protect your space. You're being like serious about your protection, but you're also offering something and being like, listen, I know that technically like these are woods and this is your home, and like I'm moving my house here, but like I need you not in my space, like eating my carrots or whatever you're growing, speaking of witchy homestead. So let me put these blackberry vines around the property. I think they require a lot of water, so hopefully you also have like a stream around your property or in a wet area. But yeah, mutual agreement with the plants is the best. Yes, yes, yes. What's up, Laurenberg? Oh, I'm glad you like that idea. Yeah, poison ivy is a great protector, but then of course, obviously, you have the potential danger. You have to remember it's there. Remember to tell people that it's there. Okay. All right. So, last chance to grab your tea before we get into the card situation. Okay. And I want to reiterate, I don't know if I even have said it here yet, but first of all, shout out to you guys because I be moving, I be changing my mind. I be bouncing around, and a lot of you have bounced around with me, and I really appreciate that. Um, and I obviously have been like on this entrepreneurial journey, and getting to help other people with theirs has been like unbelievably rewarding. And seeing not only how what I can offer people impacts like their individual lives and their goals, but also how what I have to offer is and can impact my neighborhood where I live, a place that I care about very much, but that has not always been given a fair shake, and has, a need for more business, more spirituality, for a lot of things that what I do, what the people in this community does, contributes. And I'm excited to like lean into that really deeply. So thank you for coming along with me on that ride, especially for those of you who maybe are not necessarily super entrepreneurial or not sure that you have any desire for that, and you're just kind of like still active in this community because you want to just be a part of it. I think that's really, really awesome. And for those of you that are entrepreneurs, I'm super, super honored that you find value in what I offer and my experience and all of that good stuff. So thank you all for being here. Thanks for rolling into 2025 in this space. And this full moon is going to be in the sign of Cancer, 24 degrees of Cancer. So the first thing to know is that I'm going to be pulling for the different element groups: fire, earth, air, water. But if you really want to understand how this full moon is going to be showing up in your life, then you're going to want to pull your own birth chart and look for 24 degrees of Cancer to see what house is being impacted by the 24th degree of Cancer. And that is going to reveal for you what area of your life you could expect to see these themes show up the most. And so if you don't kind of know how to apply the full moon to your personal life, that's how you do it. Need your birth chart, and then you're good to go. So 24 degrees of Cancer is what you are looking for, but I'll be pulling generally for each of the elements for 24 degrees of of Cancer. But then also, aside from like, that, I think that um, we have noticed some really interesting like shifts, not just in like day-to-day things, but like whole institutions, huge governmental shifts, huge shifts in the entertainment industry, like these really huge revelations about how things are actually working. And even though those things haven't been changed or dismantled or anything like that at the present moment, just them being like revealed with such starkness is like really intense. And we seem to be going into this year with that at the very heart of everything, with this wham bam collision of fire and natural disaster, political decisions, and Hollywood, right? So all those industries that have been like having their caps pulled back blue to reveal the realness of like what's really going on, and the not so greatness of what's going on in these industries, all of a sudden you have this situation where you have what's happening with our earth. You have political decisions. I didn't know about who controlled water in California until this, right? Like, you have all these political situations going on, and then you have the entertainment industry, celebrities, Hollywood itself being on fire. So it's like a hugely um, revealing, I think, start to the year to be like, yeah, okay, these industries that have looked like they've had like cracks in their foundation coming through are really getting shook the fuck up, right? Um, and that's big. That is transformative, and that is rich with opportunity. And it's also a little bit scary, right? Because it means that things that we may have been really, really used to and really dependent on, especially when it comes to things like public education and stuff like that, could be going away. And that could be really, really like difficult, to navigate, and being able to like protect yourself, provide for yourself, like um, all of that with your God-given gifts and the things that you have come into this world to like contribute is important. So I feel like the fortification continues. And yeah, definitely look for where those themes are going to be like rising up in your life. Hold on 1 second. I've got somebody in the spam. Let me tell you, personally, I be loving Deuteronomy. I'm not even going to kid you. 28:11 through 13 is my favorite verse to read when asking my ancestors specifically to help with my prosperity, which is so crazy because that's what we're going to be talking about today. Oh my God, Tarot Destroyer, you are right on. You are right on target with the Deuteronomy. Isn't that interesting? Because that's exactly what we're talking about. Okay, but hold on. Let me see if I can do this from here. Okay. All right, y'all tell me if we're all good. They might come back. But anyway, okay, hold on. Let me see. I think they did. Okay. I'll just have to be quick with the trigger. Okay. Sorry, I was a bartender, so. All right. So the different decks that we are going to use today. I am not doing Tuesday tips on Instagram anymore. For those of you who may have like tuned into those before, I've decided weekly refuel is where I want to put my energy. So I'll be live there every week. But the deck that I was using when I was doing Tuesday tips is this really fantastic divine feminine entrepreneur deck. And obviously, I think I'm preaching to the choir. I probably don't have to tell you all that when we're talking about feminine energy, we're not talking necessarily about female identifying people. But I think what's important about this deck being a divine feminine energy is that it talks about a receptive energy that is coming like upon us, that is happening. We're going into this Piscean era. We're going into all of this like watery energy. This full moon is in the sign of Cancer. So it seems really apropos to look at the topic from like the perspective of the feminine in the entrepreneurial space. So anyway, this deck felt really appropriate. So we're going to be pulling from that. And then I have this deck that I kind of forgot that I had. And it is the very last thing, and this feels so freaking full circle, but it is the very last thing that I snagged from the shop before we stopped doing retail. And I like put away any of the last of our stuff, and we like sold out of everything. I was like, oh man, I thought about it for days. And then I was like, before all of these tarot decks are bought up, I think I'm going to take this one home. It was just calling to me. So we're going to open it up. And I personally have been on a huge ancestral journey. I don't know if you guys know or saw any of the posts, but I am adopted. Closed adoption in the 80s, no records, no information, very dramatic, blah, blah, blah. And I spoke to my birth mother for the very first time in 38 years, like in early December. I've now spoken to an aunt and my grandmother and have gotten all this information about my family that, I now like all these people I have to meet and stuff, and it's been kind of crazy. And then on top of that, there are the ancestors of my work, of what I do. There's Black Herman and Genevieve Brooks and these other ancestors that have been showing up for me and giving me like indications of how to handle things and being a role model for me, basically. So there's an ancestral connection to this full moon as well. And Cancer being the mother, Cancer energy being mothering energy. So there's this energy of ancestry as well. So don't be surprised if this full moon is bringing up themes that go along with discovering more about your ancestry, or your ancestry being significant to like the things you're interested in and the things you want to start businesses in, or the spiritual gifts that you have, like finding out that there was a grandparent that also read cards or what have you. So there's an ancestral element to this full moon as well. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Gracias. Yes. I can't really take too much credit for it. I have to shout out a random third cousin who found me on LinkedIn after I didn't respond on Ancestry because I just wasn't like checking messages over there. So it didn't occur to me. But he reached out and was pulling together some type of like a family reunion and invited me. I was like, oh, hey, it looks like we're third cousins. And I was like, yeah, so this is weird, but I'm adopted, so I don't know you or any of these other people you're talking about. And he was like, oh, okay. He was like, well, maybe I can get some information. And he did. He did some things and got back to me and was like, I think this person has gotten more info and would know, and messages, And then the next thing you know, I'm on the phone with my mother for the first time in my life. So super, super crazy kind of situation. I mean, I knew I was adopted my whole life, so it's all good. It's not like I was like, I'm adopted. I was like, no, like I knew I was adopted, but I just never knew if I'd ever actually meet them. But yeah, I was doing a whole bunch of nothing. Hey girl, hey. I was doing a whole bunch of nothing. And yeah, she popped up, or this person popped up and put us together. Yeah, like a bonus family for sure. It feels that way. It's cool. It's cool. My conditional introvert self is like, don't call me. I'll call you, but I'm also like really grateful because it's like, wow. So Enough about me, y'all. Y'all be distracting. Y'all be distracting me. Okay. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's get into it. I am going to be pulling cards on this first tea and tarot. And shout out to anybody in the room. Are there any OGs from 2019? Do you guys know how we met? Remember how we met? Are there any 2019 witches from the start in here? These cards are stiff. Yeah, any 2019 witches? Any 2020 pandemic witches? When we were doing tea and tarot every week? Do you remember that? When I did zodiac readings, the longest form of reading that can be done every week for a year and a half? Any witches from back then? So it feels good for tea and tarot to come back, and for it to be a bunker exclusive, and for it to be centered around our careers, finance, etc. So 24 degrees of Cancer might not be falling in a house that is related to that. So still obviously take that into consideration, because probably first and foremost, because that's what's going on with you and your life. But in terms of what you can expect and how we can use the energy of this full moon for our careers, for using our gifts to reach others, to impact others, and to create the lives that we want for ourselves. How do we use this full moon energy? I'm going to start. I feel like starting with Earth. Any Earth signs in the building? I feel like starting with Earth. Yeah, I'm happy you're here too, Marlene. I'm excited for our session. Marlene is a hypnotist and client, and we are going to be having a session together this upcoming Friday. I'm going to be hypnotized, y'all, for the first time ever. Oh, I can't wait. I'm so excited. Like, am I going to float out of my body? I'm super excited. Okay. Yes, I am going to float out of my body. Oh my God. That's so cool. I can't wait. It'll be great. And then when the aliens come to take us all, I'll be ready. Because I'll be like, I've been through this. You ain't never been hypnotized? Oh, yes, Virgo here. Oh, that's what you were saying, yes, to Earth signs. Okay, that makes more sense. I will not be leaving my body. But you are, in fact, an Earth sign. Okay. Got it. Copy. All right. Any other Earth signs in the building? Sun, moon, or rising. And I feel called also to take into consideration your Mars sign, because we have this Mars going into retrograde. So sun, moon, or Mars, sun, moon, rising, or Mars in Earth signs. This message is for you. Okay. This message is for you, Earth signs. For this full moon in Cancer. Okay. Okay, Earth signs. Another Virgo here. What's up, Madeleine? Yeah, drop your info, Marlene. The witches want to get hypnotized. Hello, Diana. Welcome. All right. Earth signs. This is like very okay. This is like a message that's like mad deep. Like it's a mad deep message, but it's also like but it's very practical. The very first thing coming through is about trusting yourself. the card that came up is the trust card in this deck, and it talks about building trust amongst your viewers, your audience, your target audience, by showing up consistently, showing yourself, showing your work, showing who you are. You build trust in people, which is obviously very important, especially for spiritual workers. People might have nervousness about coming to you or what have you. So knowing that you are reputable, that you know what you're talking about, that you're ethical, etc., people want to trust in you. But what was coming through kind of like behind this message was like, it's also about trusting yourself. That some of your hesitation about showing up in public spaces doing what you do is that there's still an element of distrust in yourself, whether you don't fully trust yourself to provide the results that you claim, whether you don't fully trust yourself to be, take all safety precautions, be ethical, um, be reliable, whatever it may be. There's like an element of distrust in yourself that is going to be important for you to use this new moon in Cancer energy to work through, because there's some mothering or mother energy around it that will help with healing that. So you might not trust yourself because the relationship that you had with your own mother didn't allow for that. Maybe you were always criticized for what you did. You were never sure if what you did was quite, good enough, if you had enough, if you knew enough. For all of us, it will be different, but there's something for you, earth signs, related to the mother wound, I want to say, or like relationship or whatever, that might be impacting your own ability to trust yourself. But on the practical side of things, your trust for yourself and your trust in yourself makes it easier for you to build trust amongst the people that you are targeting, communicating to, etc. And the reason for that is the more you trust yourself, the more you talk. Right? The more you trust yourself, the more you're willing to step out and express an opinion that was maybe like unsolicited, which is a lot of what social media is when you think about it, which is what made me really like uncomfortable with it in the beginning. I really like the idea of podcasts and videos and stuff because I was like, okay, well, there's a question being asked. I can make an episode or I can respond to somebody's comment, but I feel really weird just like turning on a camera and being like, guess what I think today? Who cares? So, and I think that's because I'm 38, so I'm right at that cusp of like, I didn't get Facebook till I was 18, kind of thing. So I started my world where social media was not a thing. The concept of just like waking up in the morning and being like, hi world, I just want to tell you that I like, farted this morning. I didn't come from that. So I was like, I'm like, who cares? Who cares what I have to say about anything? But part of that was also like, do I trust myself to not be criticized? Or do I trust myself if somebody disagrees with me? Or do I trust myself if I'm fact checked that I'm wrong and things like that? So there was that underlying it too. So once I got over the idea of like answering questions that nobody ever asked, I then had to get over the idea that like, yeah, the information you have is good. Um, um, you add value to like the conversation, So anyway, earth signs, there's a lot of that going on for you, and it applies really practically to your goals for this year, because getting out there and marketing yourself is clearly a big focus, or should be a big focus for you at this point in the year. And if there's any distrust that you have in yourself that's holding you back from putting yourself out there as boldly as you can, then it would serve you well to work on that with this full moon. So what does that look like? That looks like the way that I would do it, and obviously every witch is different, and obviously I come from a Wiccan background, so that's where I take a lot of my like ritual instruction from. But a ritual that I often do at the full moon is called drawing down the moon. I have a video on it on this channel, I believe, but you can look it up as well. It's a pretty well-known neo-pagan / Wiccan ritual that involves essentially using a vessel of water as I guess using a bowl of water as a vessel. You know what I'm saying? With the water in it and holding that under the full moon, putting it under the full moon, wherever it can catch the rays, letting it absorb the energy of this particular full moon, which is 24 degrees of Cancer, and then embodying that energy yourself by bathing in that water, drinking that water, what have you, watering plants with that water, what have you. So the drawing down the moon ritual is what I would do if I wanted to bring that mothering energy into me. And allow it to like heal whatever distrust I had with myself, especially if like actually working it out with my mother wasn't realistic for whatever reason. Okay, so this is a new deck, the Beloved Dead. We are also asking for a message from our ancestors here. And we have this conflict card in the reverse. So we're going to see what this is all about. And I hope they're in alphabetical order, and they are, thank goodness. Okay, they don't do reverses. So anyway, we have the conflict card. Okay, Earth signs. When conflict storms into a reading, it brings energetic dissonance ranging from a tantrum to a tornado. This is a card with its own jarring soundtrack. Shouting, shrieking, crashing, breaking, accusing, fighting, name-calling, derisive laughter, even weaponized silence. Its core is tense, volatile, unstable, angry, protracted, sometimes unrepentant. It represents hatred and rage, battles and war, rivals, enemies, or blackened hearts, and perpetrators of violence or abuse. Sometimes the conflict can also represent an internal process, indicating an inability to arrive at a peaceful resolution of two opposing courses of thought, feeling, or action. This card often asks, where are you experiencing a pattern of conflict in your life? Is the charged atmosphere of fighting familial and familiar? A comfort zone to which you've become accustomed. Perhaps you've developed great skills in the area of conflict management and resolution. Unless this is your vocation, your affinity for calamity will attract friends and relations with never-ending turmoil. The Beloved Dead offer a word to the battle-weary. Say bye-bye to the cray-cray. It may be time to beat a retreat to peace and quiet. Ha. So, immediately I came to this parent thing again, and literally the very last thing that I said, which was that by doing a ritual like the drawing down the moon ritual, you can bring that mothering energy to yourself, especially if having a conversation with your mother figure, or whoever it was that kind of came to mind or came to heart when I mentioned this person to you. But this ancestral message is echoing that, and I think reinforcing that probably for more of you than not, the option of having this conversation with your actual mother is not possible. Okay. And so this message is your ancestors reminding you that this is something that can be handled internally, that this is work that you can do for yourself, that it doesn't necessarily require a conversation with anybody, especially because it seems like conflict would be the likely result of an attempt at a conversation. So now would not be the time, earth signs, to maybe try to actually mend things with people that have made you distrust who you are, or your faith in yourself. Know that whatever wounds were caused or impact a relationship with them had, you can work this out on your own. And your ancestors are kind of coming through to be like, you're not really alone. Like, you have support to do this. And also, interestingly, you potentially have your community too. So I feel like for some of you, a part of this online marketing of yourself should involve talking about some of this stuff. Talking, which is crazy because that's like literally what I just did. But yeah, talk about what is going on with you and your mother wounds, your ancestral journeys, your ancestral search. That might be relevant to the work that you do. And that might allow you, like when you're marketing yourself, it's important to know, and I'm going to be talking about this in my next webinar, but marketing yourself isn't just about being like, I do readings, I do energy, I do energy. marketing yourself is about letting people into your world a little bit and letting them get to know you and helping them to understand why you're passionate about solving their problem. Because people can understand that you do it, like you have a solution, but why do you care? You know, why do you care to solve their problem? What have you experienced that makes this matter to you? So if you are going on an ancestral journey, earth signs, consider sharing it with your audience, because that might be a really wonderful way to let them get to know you, build trust in you. And that's not salesy, you know. That took it deep, right? What was the meditation called again? Which meditation? Oh, the ritual, drawing down the moon. The drawing down the moon ritual. Yep. I feel like I still have my video up on this channel about it, but definitely you can find lots of stuff online and in any Wiccan books probably that you already have. All right, earth signs. Gracias for being in the room. Who wants to go next? Whatever I see first will go next. Fire, air, or water. Who wants to go next? Fire, air, or water? Fire. Okay, I saw you first. Quick with the moves. Sorry, Gina Beans. Air will be next, okay? Fire and then air. Fire and then air. Okay, spirit. Spirit, God's guardians, angels, ancestors. The message for fire. How do we use this full moon and Cancer energy? For our businesses, for our abundance. Okay. All right. Fire, earth, listen to me. Sun, moon, rising, or Mars in fire. Signs Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. The message here is to prioritize and focus. I've been talking so much about this. Time blocking has become like literally my most favorite thing, and organizing my to-do list by like priority. This is a time to get your affairs like in order, but also to minimize fire signs. So this message is saying get rid of as much as you can so that you can really dial yourself in on the most important things. And this feels like it's relevant to your professions and your practices, but also to your home life. So, fire signs, you might also want to get up in them closets, get under the bed, get into the garage, okay, go visit the storage unit, okay, and clear some stuff out. This really feels like a minimalist kind of an energy. It's like we need a pen, we need and like we have all the things that we need, but we have one of all of the things that we need. And it feels like your energy may have been a little bit scattered in 2024, but it's okay because you were trying things out, and you may have been doing this both in your business and at home. So you might have like been trying out different decor, or you're moving your furniture around and trying out different styles and buying different things or whatever. But now you've realized what fits, what isn't going to fit, what feels really good, what you want to focus on. And so it's just time to really lean into that. And I feel like fire signs, you've been like getting off to a start for the year kind of like slowly a little bit. It is the 12th of the month. A little bit slowly, a little bit, but like it's okay, but like don't let it go past this full moon. Okay, so to like the full moon period, it peaks at 5:27 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, Monday, January 13th. The whole full moon cycle is like 3 days long or something like that. And you want to like be far along with this before the full moon is over. So spend whatever time you can, like tying up loose ends and finalizing anything that's like distracting you and like drawing your energy and making you fuss and move around, and just like make decisions and be like, okay, this is what we're going with. Let's do it. We're going with the color green on the walls. Done. Tired of going back and forth. This is it. Okay, fire signs, it is prioritize and focus time. And this is like your last opportunity to get rid of stuff that takes up your time but is not paying off. Okay. And this home energy is definitely coming through really strongly here with this love card now, new deck. So we're going to check the book and see what the message is around the love card. But what came through the moment that I saw it was about our home life. This looks like it's might actually be two femme characters, but in any event, they have on sort of a traditional like man and wife type of outfit. And the first thing I thought of was the home, in the way that they're embracing each other. So this is impacting the home life as well. Oh, I keep forgetting it's in alphabetical order. I'm hoping it is, but then it is. You have no idea how on point you are. Thank you, spirits, giving manic to delegation. I've been organizing my calendar, setting my meetings for the year, and finalizing. If you've ever had a reading with me, like a one-on-one reading, then you will know that I like to remind people that good tarot readings are boring. If they come like crazy far left field, it's like, what was that? Good tarot readings are boring because the messages have already been given to you. Your ancestors, your guides, your angels, they're not with your reader or with their cards or with their runes. They're with you. You just don't speak their language. So when you go to somebody who speaks their language, they're translating messages that were already like being given to you, but you just like couldn't fully, put your finger on. So it should be boring. Okay, when you receive the message of love, you aren't alone. You're being surrounded with light and given confirmation that you're protected, guided, and connected with your highest good or your spirit team. When this card is validating a loved one, they're stepping forward with a very clear message. I love you. When you receive love, take a moment to work with the card. Visualize a beam of light flooding through your body before sinking into the rich strata of earth beneath your feet. Allow the light to reach into areas of your body that need healing energy. Open your heart chakra, feel it expand to fill your entire space with light and the highest vibration of love. Invite your loved one closer. Don't discount the possibility that energy is a beloved pet soul whose affection and loyalty remain palpable. Tell your loved one how you feel. Use your words or communicate purely through thoughts. It doesn't need to be perfect, they'll understand you. Ask them for guidance or a message, or to show you a sign or symbol every now and then. When the energy becomes weaker and this connection ends, don't forget to thank them and your spirit team. Hydrate by drinking a glass of water and go ground yourself with a mundane activity like walking, gardening, or snuggling with an animal, or eat something. Snacks make excellent grounders. True, particularly red wine and dark chocolate and root vegetables. Fantastic. Okay. So the message that was coming through about home and home life is very interesting in how it contrasts with the message for Virgo, which was very much like, now is not the time to talk. For you, fire signs, now would be the time to talk. Because you are getting rid of these loose ends, these conversations need to be had. So if there are things that are up in the air that are not being said amongst you and the people you care about, especially the people you live with or work with, have to interact with on a regular basis, and that has been draining your energy, you want to finalize that along with your work stuff. Like all of this is all related. Our businesses are reflections of ourselves. The state that we are in, if we're chaotic, if we're confused, whatever, that's the state that our businesses are going to be in. And I saw somebody the other day, shout out to Deanna Chambers, who said on Threads, and I'm paraphrasing, but she said something like, you can't expect to be paid all the time by a job or a business that you only work on some of the time. Oop. Oopsie daisies, right? I thought that was a really good one. But you have, your business is a reflection of who you are and the energy you're putting into it, the nature of that energy, but also the type and the amount of that energy. And if your energy is scattered in your personal life, it will reflect in your business. So you have to, tend is the word, I guess, to these personal things that are going on as well. So sit down with that individual. Know that if you lead with love, and if this person or these people actually love you, that this conversation is one that you're going to be able to get through, even though it might be uncomfortable to go through it. And it feels like there may be some ancestors connected to this group or individual that can help facilitate this conversation. So remember to call them in. Like, y'all, don't forget we are witches, y'all. Tomorrow night for this full moon, I am going to be doing some serious spell work for my business. So we take classes, we find lawyers, we get education, all of that good stuff. But witches do it better, and we do it better for a reason. And the reason we do it better is because we understand energy. We can shift it and manipulate it, and that doesn't stop when it comes to our businesses. Even though business is like a very hard capitalistic, not very spiritual feeling type of a thing, but it doesn't have to be that way. And it shouldn't be that you stop using the same skills, gifts, sensitivities, relationships with spirit, etc., that you use to do your spiritual work. You should not bring it to the work itself. Bring that to the work itself. So call in those guides, call in those angels, call in those ancestors. The same way you would before you cast a spell or do a tarot reading. Do that before you go sit down and talk to your mom, about, you cannot continue to pay her electrical bill because you're trying to start a business. Whatever it may be. Okay. You got it, fire signs. All right. I said air would be next, right? Air signs next. Hold on. Let me take a sip. Let me take a pause. Little witchy break. Go refill your hot water, but come back fast. I just need a little sip. You are so welcome, my dear. Do we have any other air signs in the building other than who else had air signs? Gina Beans? Capricorn. We did Earth first, Fatima. Yeah, we did Earth first, my darling. So you'll have to go back to that. But you can also listen to your sun, moon, rising, or Mars signs. So I'm sure they're not all in Earth signs. It might be. So, but you want to listen for your sun, moon, rising, and Mars. Mars is going to be retrograding in the sign of Cancer right about the time that the moon is full in Cancer. So, what is going on with your Mars sign? You're a triple air. Triple air. Cool. All right, Spirit, a message for the air signs. How do they pull in this full moon Cancer energy? Your abundance, success, prosperity. Okay, so obviously there are multiple people in the space, so the message comes through like a little like almost like a pie chart, like these people will feel this. So for some of you air signs, this full moon in Cancer is about preparing for anything. And in some cases, perhaps preparing for the worst. I don't want you to be alarmed or concerned that this means that something like catastrophic or devastating is going to happen, because the universe is funny. And the way that we get taught lessons sometimes is to be brought to the edge of the cliff, but not actually being kicked off of it. You guys know the Bible story about the who was the dude who was supposed to sacrifice his son? And he was like, was it Abraham that was going to kill his own son? Abraham was on some fuck shit. Abraham was going to do it though, right? And the guy was like, yo, I was just kidding. But the idea is like, literally, that's how God gets down. Like, he will push you to the edge to see if you look at that. Father Abraham had many sons. Thank you, Father Abraham. Okay. You will get pushed to the edge to see whether or not you're really like about that life. Okay. And then not actually have to go through with the ultimate sacrifice. Okay. So I want you to know that you might be walking into an Abraham type of a situation where you are being told to plan for failure. Literally, plan for failure. What if? And this might be because in the past, perhaps you haven't been as good at that air sign, being a little bit more fluid, getting excited about an idea, and not really making great contingency plans for like, what if this doesn't work out? Kind of just like going with the energy for as long as you have it. And then you have to deal with the fallout of like not seeing it through, or, it getting away from you or what have you. So this is Spirit saying, have you learned your lesson? Have you learned how important it is that you plan ahead, and that you not just plan for success, but that you plan for failure as well? Have you learned your lesson there? And it feels like you might get pushed into a situation where that is tested to see if you have, in fact, learned that lesson. Because in business, this is critical. One thing I tell my clients all the time is there will be more losses than wins. It is the single most important, single most fundamental, absolutely critical thing that I want every single person to understand about business. And the internet totally makes it seem like it's the opposite. But whether you're talking about a lemonade stand on your corner or a billion-dollar business, more losses than wins are happening. The difference between a business that succeeds ultimately and one that doesn't, no matter how big it is how long they are willing to keep losing and getting better and better and better until they actually ultimately see success. Most people, most businesses of any size tap out along the way. And then you have the few that stick it out for the long run and they get the big win. And so having that ability to fail, to be prepared to fail, to accept failure, to know that it's coming, and to have some safety nets in place for it are important, just as important as being like prepared to succeed and good at succeeding. I think athletes would say the same thing, that like you have to know how to lose more than you have to know how to win to be a really good athlete, because to get really good, you've got to lose a lot. So this is what you're being taught and what you're being told to focus in on right now. And then for some of you air signs, this planning ability is going to actually take you to a place where you're able to plan for others. So some of you might be going, like, your businesses that you're creating, or maybe even work that you're doing for others, is taking you into a place where maybe you're doing like compliance work for people. Maybe you are, creating strategies for people, for companies, etc. You might be organizing groups of people and figuring out, like, okay, what could happen? Like, okay, we're going to go protest this thing. Like, what do we do if the police come? What if we do this? So your ability to plan for failure is actually a like a critical skill that you need to develop in order to level up to the next thing that you want to do, right? It's like, I don't know, you want to be a top chef, but you like don't have formal like knife skills or something like that. And it's like, you can cook your ass off, you can season food, it's delicious, it's fantastic, but like if you're really going to be like a Michelin chef, like you got to have your technicals kind of thing. That's how it feels like you're being prepared for your next role. And a big part of that preparation is getting better at planning, and not just planning for success, but planning for failure. That is the level of leadership you need to have, or a skill you need to have to become a leader. Okay, this leadership description is long, so we're going to do some skimming. Okay. Okay, something about a German town. We're not going to read that. What's the point of this story exactly? What is it? Okay, yeah, exactly. Okay, it's a useful metaphor, the story. I'm not going to read the story. It's a useful metaphor, just know that, to explain the dynamic between authority, leadership, and following. How many times has a controversial figure or celebrity mesmerized a town or nation, culminating in a debt and problems that are much worse than 10 bags of gold? So, exactly. You are being nurtured into a leadership position, and if you don't know how to plan well for all of the options of what could happen, you will only be leading people into disaster. So to be a good leader, you have to be 10 steps ahead of like what the opponent is going to be doing, thinking about the things that other people maybe are not thinking about, and being far more strategic. And you're being prepared for that. The way you're being prepared for that is through your own life. Okay. When this card is validating an individual, ancestor, or experience, it resonates with skills, reputation, and acknowledgement in the area of leadership. A loved one stepping forward might have been a CEO, mayor, or proprietor of a small business with such strength of character that they are the pillar of the community. Hey, hey. Okay. The beloved debt of leadership says that respect is earned, it can't be commanded. Anyone controlling by charisma or intimidation in order to cover up their own flaws is a Pied Piper or a tin pot dictator. Great leaders mentor with integrity and kindness. They live like they lead. They set an example with their own appearance, comportment, and communication. They instill trust and confidence, empowering and strategically setting up others to succeed. I definitely think your full moon ritual air signs should involve some ancestor work. It seems pretty strongly that there are some ancestors that have already walked a similar path to the one that you are on right now, that would absolutely, that are already attempting to assist you, but maybe want to come through a little bit more clearer, or will be able to if you tune into them and kind of meet them halfway. So I would ask those ancestors to step forward in your full moon rituals, in your own readings, what have you, and know that this is related to your business. Know that these ancestors, um, yes, have skills and vibrations that are helpful to you as a person, but what's happening in your personal life is ultimately to prepare you for what you're doing in business. So just make sure that you understand that connection, okay? Because it might happen in your personal life, but it's so that you're going to be better in business. Make sense? I pray that makes sense, air signs. I surely do. Let me know if you're still here with me. I haven't seen any comments going, and sometimes it's because they freeze. And then I get self-conscious and I think I'm alone. Are you here? All right. Next is going to be water sign. It does make sense. Okay, good. Thank you. And it's okay if it doesn't. You can say it doesn't. I also just want to know that the comments aren't frozen. It is okay. It is okay. And someone asked me the other day if I'm still doing private readings. Yes, I am. I thought about, when I was time blocking for my 2025, I was like, is this still in alignment? And I was like, I really just can't not. I just, it will always be my first love. So I don't have many slots on my weekly calendar at all. There's literally like 2, I think, that I have designated for tarot readings and Reiki sessions. So yes, you can still receive spiritual services from me if you're able to make those times work. And there should be links down in the description. If not, just comment or something and point you in the right direction. I'm doing some cleanup work. So the YouTube, the bunker's pretty good. The bunker's pretty good. So you can just at me in the bunker. It's pretty nicely organized, and I will see that if you're looking for tarot or Reiki from me. And if you're watching this on YouTube, if the right link is not in the description, just comment and I'll help you. Yes, takes those L's to appreciate the wins. And not only does it take the L to appreciate the wins, it also takes the L to get to the win. I have a tattoo on the back of my neck that says, try again, fail, try. Damn, I always fuck it up. Hold on. It's literally tattooed on me, but I never see it, so I always get it backwards. Okay. Try again, fail better. It's a Samuel Edmondson quote. But basically the idea behind the quote is what matters. So I never remember the words. And the idea is that every time you fail, you're going to fail a little bit better. And the goal isn't success necessarily. It is to fail better, because as long as every time you fail, you get better and better at what you do, you're going in the right direction and success is inevitable. So you have to take those losses in order to be ready for the wins, in order to get to the wins, to be smart enough for the wins, but also to handle it when you're there. Like a lot of times we want to be, jet propelled to the finish line. And at the end of the day, like you wouldn't be able to handle it. Right? If you're a nurse, you might be thinking to yourself like, oh, I wish I was the head of this hospital. I would make all these different decisions. I would do all of this. But the truth of the matter is that if you were suddenly to wake up as the head of that hospital, you would probably run it into the ground. Not because you wanted to, not because you didn't care, not because you were smart, not because you weren't hardworking, none of that, but simply because you hadn't gone through all the struggles along the way that put you in a position where you'd be able to handle the responsibilities at that level. So those losses are necessary to the wins. They're probably better for you than any win. Yes, I did 2 decks. We're doing the Divine Feminine Entrepreneur deck and the Beloved Dead Ancestral Oracle deck. And this last one is for the water signs, like playing chess. Okay. Water signs, sun, moon, rising, Mars. Now, this is really interesting and this is super hyper specific. So, you know, take it if it makes sense, don't if it doesn't. But it feels like for a lot of the water signs in this group, I think maybe particularly for like the Mars water signs, and maybe it's because this retrograde makes you feel like you can't move forward as much as you would like, or you're not seeing as much progress as you would like. But there's definitely a like intense feeling that I got of like a running out of time. So you might be older, you might I like hesitate to say this, but like I don't think I get to decide if I'm supposed to say these things. You might, for whatever reason, be aware of not having a lot more time on earth. So you might have an illness or something going on where the feeling of not having a lot of time left to build what it is you're trying to build is very present and very strong, because it feels like there is a pressure around this. Like it's advice, but there it feels like there's a sense of anxiety a little bit around it, water signs. If you have been wondering whether or not to advertise, particularly if you go with paid advertisement, you are being told, yes, absolutely move forward with the paid advertisement. But it feels very much related to this time message that experimenting with all of the different ways in which you can get the word out about what it is that you are doing. And maybe this isn't business related, maybe you're raising money for something. Um, but whatever it is that you're trying to get the word out that you are doing, you don't necessarily have a ton of time to like do it super organically, you know? And I know that that may be the way that you might want to do it, but there is sort of this time angel kind of buzzing about, kind of reminding you that like, we want to be expeditious and we want to do like um, the quicker thing is there. Oh, thank you, Laurenberg. Carrie said, how can I get a reading from you? Carrie, I think you emailed the shop. So you could just email again. I think I might have included that in there. But also on the website, BronxWitch.com, if you look around for the Connect with Ali section, you'll also find those things there, my dear. But you could send an email again. I'll be happy to point you in the right directions. Since a health scare in April has changed my mentality on that a bit. Yeah, the pressure of time feels intense. So some recent occurrence, or some recent knowledge being shared or something like that, or just getting older, maybe celebrating a birthday, something has happened to make it feel like time is like literally staring you down for a moment, and it's pushing you in the direction of getting yourself out there in a way that maybe doesn't feel as organic. But the fact that this is coming up in this reading with this full moon coming in, is telling me that it's probably the best decision for you to make, even though you have to maybe learn some stuff or wrap your head around it. So anybody who's on here, water sign, sun, moon, rising, or Mars, that's been thinking about advertising with paid advertisements, either about your business or something you're raising money for, something that you're trying to build, go ahead and go for it, because you are at limited time and this would be the best way to get it out. And the questions that you have about that are going to be answered with this full moon if you draw this energy in. The full moon is illuminating. This is usually when we get the most answers. It's when the most is revealed. And so you will probably want to do some dream work. Dream work is, one of my hoodoo teachers says, that your dreams are like how does he put it? Like the entry level of divination. basically everybody can do it, because it's not really something that you do. It really is just something that happens. It's a mind state, a brainwave state that makes you very open and susceptible to being able to communicate with the other realms. And so dream work, I think, would be the best thing for you to utilize to your advantage. Water signs, I would definitely be doing some type of ritual before bed, whether it's burning some rosemary, doing some journaling, and basically just asking for clarity and guidance about exactly how to go about this paid advertisement route. Am I hiring somebody to do it for me? Am I doing it myself? You know, am I advertising on this platform, that platform, etc.? So clarity about it is what you need now, but the decision of whether or not to go for it is a resounding yes. And let's see what this ancestral message about time is all about. Should you receive this card, there's something significant about a date or time that factors prominently in the memory or experience of an ancestor or individual. It could be your loved one's birthday or a date they'd like to acknowledge that belongs to you or another family member. Is this the anniversary of their passing? Time also appears to say too soon, validating a connection with a loved one who experienced an untimely or sudden passing. Taken literally, the beloved dead of time looks at a pocket watch, tapping the casting impatiently, as if to say, time waits for no one and it won't wait for you. Okay. This card could also be cautioning you to rein in those reactionary horses so that you can remain patient and wait for the right timing. But in any case, beloved dead of time asks you that you take a beat, pause, assess your own current experience with its passage. So, what was coming through here, I know that the book description said alternatively it could be about being patient, but that's not what is coming through with this message for this particular group. And for the water signs that are listening, this is about not dragging your feet anymore, making the decision to go ahead and invest in that, and then asking for guidance from this ancestor about how to actually do it so that the ads are successful. Now, the ancestor that's coming through about this, what's being communicated about this is somebody who might actually have a significant overlap with this full moon. So they might have been a Cancer, they might have been born on this date, they may have passed away on this date. But certainly I would look first for ancestors that have done work that's similar to what you have done. Or are doing or are trying to do or whatever. If you're raising money for, a particular fund, did this person also do philanthropic work for that type of field, et cetera, et cetera? But if you don't know who this ancestor is, like right off the bat, this is who you would want to be looking for. So, we've got like 24 hours. See what you can track down, ask a couple of questions, think back, look at some obituaries or, stuff like that. And see if there are some folks in your lineage, whether biological or if you've taken my orphan ancestry class, it's me as an adopted person, does not have to be biological, adopted lineage, affinity lineage, etc. Ancestry of geography of the place that you're from, etc. So this could be ancestors of any kind, but see if there's somebody that comes to mind, that steps forward in your dreams that you can think of that has some overlap with either this time of year or the thing that you're trying to draw attention to with the ads, because that ancestor is coming through really strongly as being able to assist with this process. So call out, reach out, be ready, have your dream journal by your bed. You literally have a few in mind. I love that. I would definitely have a dream journal by the bed. Grab some photos or do some journaling before bed, write their names down, do some Beetlejuice type shit. Aunt Agnes, Aunt Agnes, Aunt Agnes. The different stuff, to try to get them to come forward over these next 3 days of the full moon. Don't stress if it doesn't happen tomorrow night. Full moon is a 3-day window. And I have heard a couple of astrologers talking about how the 2 days after are going to be where we feel the most like action to actually take charge. But definitely within those like 3-day periods, I would get good night's sleep, give yourself enough time. The thing about getting your messages in your sleep is you need to do stuff that makes sleep like conducive. So don't be like, oh, spirit, I want you to talk to me in my dreams and then only be sleeping 3 hours a night and be exhausted and like, nearly dead and like not able to be woken by thumps in the house. Like when you want to receive your messages in dream state, you want to have a certain level of like clarity and be able to be asleep. You want to be having like 8-hour long sleeps. You want to make sure that you're going all the way sleep plural. You want to sleep for like 8 hours. You want to sleep all the way through the night. You want to make sure that you have given yourself enough time to go into REM sleep and that you're in the situation to go into REM. I'm gonna like really break your hearts about this, you guys. I'm sorry. Please understand this is not coming from a judgmental place. I smoked 1 to 3 blunts a day, every day from the age of 18 to 28. This is not me judging. But you gotta quit the weed. You gotta quit the weed. You gotta stop smoking the weeds. That's why I don't do high tea anymore. I realize it's not in alignment really anymore. I can't call something high tea because I don't be smoking the weeds. Not because I have any problem with the weeds. It still serves its purpose. But the reason why I stopped is because what I learned studying more about cannabis was that even though it makes you tired, so it's super counterintuitive, but even though it makes you tired, it interferes with your ability to go all the way into REM sleep. And REM sleep is where we dream. So if you don't dream often or you really never remember anything and you're a regular cannabis consumer, this might be why. And it was like really devastating for me to learn this because let me tell you, I always assumed that for all of my life, I simply would always be a like daily partaker. And when I realized that I was literally standing in the way of getting like all these messages, I was like, ugh, I can't. And then when the messages started coming through, my very first dream off of cannabis after like 2 weeks, it took like 2 weeks for this to happen. Nothing was happening. No dreams were coming through. Nothing was happening. And my first dream was a freaking sleep paralysis situation. And I'd never had sleep paralysis in my life. Ever in my life. And I had a sleep paralysis situation that was so horrifying that I had to call my bestie, who thankfully lives in the neighborhood, and have her come over. She has the key. She was able to let herself in, and I had her check all of my closets and under my bed and all my bedroom and stuff before I would get off the couch. I was panicking that bad. I truly thought somebody was in this apartment with me. So when my dreams came back, they came back ferocious. Okay. And then after that, it was like dreams every night. And now I generally dream. But now, like, it's to the point where I have a guide now that escorts me through my dreams now that I'm like really using them intentionally. And I will be able to be like, okay, listen, I need an answer about this. I need information about this. And then go to sleep and get the dream that night or the next night. So your dreams are the easiest place for you to communicate with your spirit team. But if you're doing something that is preventing you from dreaming or preventing you from remembering your dreams, then unfortunately, you're missing out on an easy opportunity. Now you got to go to the cards or something else, So I hate to break it to you because I, for the longest time, tried to tell myself I am the most functioning smoker ever. Like, look at me. I went to freaking law school smoking every day. Like, come on, I am fine. I can do this forever. And it's like, yeah, I probably could have done it forever, but I was blocking something really big. And I literally didn't know that until I just saw that in like some research online or something. And I was like, wait a minute, is that why I don't fucking dream? And then I was like, let me try it. Quit for 2 weeks. Had a sleep paralysis demon try to attack me, and then it's been fine after that. So, yeah. You're gonna have to ease yourself. Yeah. Oh, you use it for pain. Yeah, see, I will say that I totally understand my privilege because I was using cannabis recreationally. And even though I kept being like, it's a medicine, I had to admit after a while that I wasn't using it that way. I didn't have anything that needed like real treatment, really, really, not with cannabis. Um, so I had to accept that I wasn't using it medicinally. For people who do need it medicinally, it's a little bit, harder because it is an effective medicine for pain. It is, especially nerve pain, and other things that I wasn't suffering through. So I was able to say, okay, let me stop using this because it really is just recreational. It is different for somebody that has found it to be the most effective medicine for something like pain, because I would never want someone to like be in pain all the time. So, I'm sorry that you're dealing with that. I don't know if CBD is an effective alternative for you because it might not be strong enough for that level of pain. But when I stopped smoking, I switched to CBD. At the same time, because I was like, girl, I need something. So I switched to CBD, and the research I was doing on CBD was wonderful because it was the opposite. It was like, oh yes, THC will prevent you from going into REM sleep and make it harder for you to dream. And then CBD though will actually help you drop into REM sleep and can make dreams more visual and more like improve your memory about them. And I was like, okay, great, that's perfect. So I like switched. But I know that CBD isn't as strong of a pain treatment usually. So that might be an alternative for you. And then there's herbs like Klipdaga, which is smoked as an alternative to cannabis. And medicine from it has been used to treat malaria for a long time. I use it in my smoke blend called Solstice. I also use it in my tea called Bangi My Head. Beautiful orange, South African flower, Leonoris nepetifolia. Beautiful plant. And Klipdaga might be able to be a better alternative for you, honestly, than CBD. And it's not a controlled substance, so you can get it anywhere. Oh, yeah, no. Well, first of all, you're not a distraction at all. And actually, I'm going to throw this up on the screen. I have a theory of my fibromyalgia is a buildup of excess in my emotional energy body, but I don't know. I'll let you know how that goes and stop distracting you. Not a distraction. And also, I was talking today to one of our bunker members, Minda. And Minda is creating her business. She's launching her business with me. And she is a trauma informed yoga instructor and sound bowl healer and meditation facilitator. Basically, she helps people to work with through trauma with sound and movement. And in particular, people who have sustain trauma either because they in this life or ancestrally or in a past life have had some relationship with like revolution and social justice and living off the grid and like taking a strong stance in life. And so her healing practice focuses on helping those people overcome like their burnout, their built up emotional energy and stuff to be able to release it. So I don't know how much movement is accessible for you, but perhaps the sound component would be great for you. So if you're in the bunker, at Minda, holler at Minda. She might be able to help with some other recommendations. Yeah. Oh yeah, she's in the bunker. She's in the bunker. Is this playing to non-bunker people on YouTube? I be messing up my settings. It's supposed to only be bunker people, and then it's supposed to go to everybody else on YouTube after. Not bunker people in here. You got lucky. If you're in the bunker, Minda's in the bunker. She is a client. Being in one of my coaching programs gives you access to the bunker, but you don't have to be in the program, but like you get access for free for your clients. But otherwise, you can just come up in there. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I didn't get the settings right. It's fine. It's all in divine. It's all divinely ordained. Carrie, you booked a consultation. Okay, sweetheart. Cool. Yeah, let's chat. Piggybacking off what Ali is saying, hypnosis can also be a tool. Oh, yeah, good point. Good point. Good point. See, this is why I like bringing us all together. Okay. Hypnosis can also be a tool to discover the root cause of the ailments. Yeah, that's what we were talking about too. About that being at the core of your practice, Marlene, that what hypnosis is really good for is figuring out like why you have the issue in the first place. I'm so excited for my session. That's going to be super cool. You found her? Okay, good. Yay. Okay, yeah, no, some people aren't in the bunker. That's okay. That's okay. This is good actually, because I think our first weekly refuel session was last week, and I think I also aired that publicly. So this is good. Everybody who is on YouTube has an opportunity to see what is going down in the bunker in 2025. So yes, if you want to actually be live in the room for Tea and Tarot every full moon, pulling cards for each of the signs, for your business, your finance, your career, then you're going to want to be in the bunker. We have our weekly refuel sessions. So every week, Friday at 12 noon EST, I am live for an hour to drop some education for us, to cheer us on, celebrate our wins. Everyone gets an opportunity to introduce themselves, pitch their businesses, share their wins in the group. And then I offer some education on a topic. This month, we are really focusing on increasing our visibility as spiritual practitioners. How do we get the word out about who we are and what we do and how we do it? Social media is just the tip of the iceberg. How do we make sure our business is the one that people know about when they think about what we do? So I'm really kind of focusing on that this month. The link to the weekly refuel session for Friday is already available in the bunker. And we're going to be talking about what is in a name. What is in a name? Do you know that if you have an LLC for your business, that you still don't own the name of your business? If there is some other business using the same name, you could be sued and forced to rebrand and change your name. Did you know that as a tarot reader, there are certain waivers, contracts, or disclaimers that you should have on your booking site, on your website, in order to prevent people from suing you for, let's say, anything you recommend in your readings? These are all things that spiritual practitioners, we often don't know, right? Because we didn't come here for all this shit. We came here to like heal the people. And now we got to learn all this stuff. So it's important to know people who do know. And I know someone who does know, and that is Taylor Tiemann or Timon. I have to ask her how she pronounces it. But she is known as the Legal Miga, and she is a lawyer. She has a law firm. She's amazing. And she's been written about in Forbes and USA Today and a bunch of other cool places. And she is a trademark attorney and contracts attorney. And she is going to be coming to the bunker for a bonus refuel session. And she is going to be talking to us about the legal ramifications of your name. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about choosing the right name for yourself in Friday's refuel session, how to pick a name that is good for your business, that draws in the right audience, that does a lot of the work for you, that qualifies leads for you, how to establish that name for yourself. And then Taylor's going to come in a bonus session, and she is going to talk about how to file for a trademark, what kind of contracts you should be having in place. She's going to talk about that on my podcast, but in the bunker, she's going to be answering your specific questions. All right, so you're going to get the opportunity to ask her about your situation. So you got a contract situation, you got a trademark question, anything like that about your business specifically. You know somebody with a similar name. You're not sure if it's too similar. Can you do it? Bring your questions to the bonus refuel session. And definitely keep your eye on the bunker feed, like the general discussion feed, where all the updates and stuff are at. For those of you who are not in the bunker and got to tune into this sneak peek, is over. So come in and join us. And the code, am I lying? I'm going to say the code New Year will still get you 50% off your membership. I'm going to say that was the code at the beginning of the year. I think it's still active. I can't remember what day I prefer to expire. So check and see. But New Year should get you 50% off. There is a 7-day free trial, I believe, as well. So you can poke around and look around first, but this will give you 50% off of your membership. So definitely take advantage of it and come in, announce yourself in the roster, meet everybody, take a look around. And everybody who signs up for the bunker and becomes a member automatically gets a free consultation with me. You get a free confirmation call so that I can show you around the bunker, answer any of your questions, properly welcome you and introduce you. And definitely make sure when you come into the bunker that you schedule your confirmation calls so that we can hop on a call and say hi, okay? And get you all snuggled in to the bunker, our membership space for witchpreneurs. All right, witches. I think that is about all. It is time for my weekend to officially begin. I want to send all of you lots of love and light until the next time we meet. Have a great night. Blessed be. Bye.